Okay, so welcome to Satsang now from Durban. It's awesome seeing you guys. Let's just quickly do a check-in, then we'll start with the session. So we'll start with our Joburgers. Vanessa.
Hello, everybody. Yes, it's a beautiful day here. I had a good 2 weeks. Can't remember what I did though, but it's all good. I never can. Very much missed our session last week. Yes, I need this today. Yes, it's the first day in a long time that I'm not covered in blankets and sitting here shivering. So I'm really looking forward to a nice meditation. And nice to see everybody again.
Nice to have you. Thank you. Welcome. Nikki.
Hi, morning everyone. Yeah, it's been good. I missed our session as well last week, but yeah, looking forward to today's. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. I hope Joburg is treating you well.
Yes, so far.
Good. Nikki?
I've had a tough 2 weeks. I've had a really bad flare-up, and it's, when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to imagine there is an end in sight. I know there is. It always does end, but so that's where I've been. I've been kind of in this foggy, heavy, dark place. Sure. But things like today help, so I'm very glad to be here.
Cool. Very happy to have you here. And that's not nice when there's a flare. And the energies has been hectic, and the Schumann resonance has been doing its funny bit. It's like the earth also had like a reset. So, and when we all connect that, it does have an effect.
Yeah.
Alrighty, cool. But I'm glad that you are here. So, awesome.
Thank you.
Anita.
Morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I've had a fairly okay 2 weeks. Yes, we do miss meditation. There's like something on a Sunday that's just not right, and we're going to reset our day on a Sunday. Yes, so I've had a fairly okay week. I think there's just too many resets, and it really affects us a lot, though. Yes, so looking forward to meditation. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Barbara.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back, Fiona. Nice to see you back in your new spot.
Thank you.
Yes, I've missed 2 weeks. So, I mean, it's been 3 weeks since I was last with everybody. So, I really need to be back, and I'm looking forward to today.
Cool. Welcome. Thank you. So, I'll just do a quick check-in. So last Sunday when I arrived on Saturday, and they only unpacked my stuff between 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. So there was mountains of boxes, and I just looked at the space and I told Nadine, everything is not going to fit in. It's definitely not going to. I can't see. And I just slowly but surely started unpacking on Sunday. I just took it to one box at a time, one day at a time. And each day there was a different thing that I needed to settle and sort out. And it worked out perfectly. All settled, everything found a place. Gave 4 boxes to charity that there wasn't space for. And I thought then it can bless somebody else, and it's got such a nice peaceful feel. I feel so safe, secure, just blessed in this space. So very grateful, and I'm grateful that it's in Kloof, because now it's actually close to everything else. So
it's a lovely area.
And so yeah, I'm 2 kilometers from the shop, so I can walk there and walk back, and it's a lovely walk, and it's just beautiful. I'm very grateful for being here. When I told people, it's like when I'm arriving here, I'm kissing the ground. That's how grateful I've been to be back. It's like awesome. Hello, Maria. Thanks for joining us. Do you want to quickly do a check-in?
Yes, hi guys, sorry to be late. And it's so lovely to have you up the road in Durban. I'm really glad that you're here, and yeah, I'm very grateful too that we're back on track with our session this morning. Yeah, quite needed after the week that I've had. It was a very strange week. I don't know in hindsight if it had anything to do with the full moon, but it was not the best week, so I'm very happy to be here and have some grounding with the group.
Yeah, Nikki also said that she had a flare up, and the Earth has doing the Schumann resonance has had a period where there was nothingness. So the Earth also took a day or so to reset or do whatever. But Vanessa is hier afkom Umschlanger to Maria's in Umschlanger. So
Okay, then I'll bring you down to Umschlanger and we can have lunch and I can maybe meet some of you guys. Yes. Can't wait.
Nikki's in Belita, so she's not so too far.
Okay.
Maybe lure her down. Yeah.
Maybe one of the Sundays we can have a
that'd be nice.
A church session.
That would be nice.
A live one, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yay.
Awesome. Okay. So yesterday I sat here and I connected with our group this morning and I asked what messages there are for us. And the card deck that I picked was Healing with the Angels. On Friday I went for a healing session so that I am all reared up and ready to see my first client today. She's a new client. They saw that I moved to Kloof and she said, oh, okay, I want to try one of your sessions. I've never been to you. So it's awesome having a new client and it's excited to invite her to my space. So yeah, but it felt like a lot of healing was needed, and with the physical ailments that some of you have experienced, it's I thought, okay, so we'll see what the angels say, how to help us cope through these changing energies. So the first card that I drew that is that of nature, and it's an angel in nature. Beautiful. And the card message is, spending time alone in nature is important for you. Even 5 minutes in the garden would be healing for you right now. By drawing this card, the angels ask you to interact with nature more often, every day as possible. This card also signifies that you may be happier living in a more rural setting. I don't see plenty houses, and I am much more happy being able just to. I must say, nature has a great effect on me. It's like when I don't see it, it feels like part of my spirit dies. When I'm here, it feels like finally I can breathe again. Greenery and yeah, it's major effect on me. So yes, I can relate to that. Also, this card may be encouraging you to choose an occupation involving plants or animals. For instance, you may be enjoying gardening, history, or veterinary work. Bless you.
Thank you.
Pet sitting, or delving into the world of animal communication. Your angels and the nature angels are helping you discover and give you gifts to this and give your gifts to the world. Help them to help you by spending more time in nature. So as much as you can. So like yesterday I was with people and the one guy said, I don't know how many years ago, he moved down to Old Wimmy, moved down to Amanzimtoti, and he was on the beach. He said you could walk out and then you were sort of on the beach. And he said it was beautiful. And then you just become used to it. And then you don't see the beauty anymore. And he said people will come down and they'll be in his universe. Oh, wow. And he says, what are you seeing? Thinking that there must be something else but just nature. So it's sometimes stranger when you get used to a scenery, then you don't see it anymore. And I guess it's for us to appreciate that. It's like finding the adventure in a nature setting. Doesn't matter where you are, and that's why they say even if it's in the garden, just seeing it, and that's the importance of being present, because when you are present you do see it. When your mind goes drifting and then everything sort of just fades out and you see or you have unpleasant thoughts or whatever in your mind, but it's to be present and to see and to have gratitude for wherever you find yourself. Yeah, so that was the first message. Then the second message was power. And it's an angel blowing something. Okay, and the power message to us is, you now allow yourself to express your power. Being powerful is safe for you, knowing that you express your power with love. You have all the power of your creator within you. All the power of divine love, wisdom, and intelligence is available to you. You have the spiritual power to see the angels and the future. You have the intellectual power to tap into the universal wisdom of one mind. You have the emotional power to empathize with others, and the physical power to truly be unlimited. The angels ask you to give them any fears you may have connected with being a powerful person. Your angels see the quiet and beautiful aspect of your true power, stemming from the only power in the universe, divine love. Allow yourself to shine in the radiant love so that your true nature, your true power can radiate out into the world in miraculous ways. And it's to know that we can be powerful in a loving and kind way. We don't have to assert power, we don't have to control, we don't have to manipulate, we don't have to do anything. And I guess at times we flip through them, meaning if you don't have the physical power, you have to draw on other things like your emotional power or your mental power or your spiritual power. It's like tapping into those and then operating from those as much as you can until the physical restores again. It's like the first 2 days when I unpacked, my physical body was not happy. It was sore on all places. Every muscle that I known of and not known of was sore. And I thought, oh, I guess I need more like a massage or physical healing. But when I went for a healing, the work that they needed to do was on the emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. And I thought, oh, okay, my physical body bounced back miraculously. And the others now need fine-tuning, and it got its fine-tuning, which I was grateful for. But yeah, it's I guess we have to draw on that inner strength, that inner power that we have, because it's not going to come from the outside. So can also relate to that. And sometimes we need to be reminded that we have these other powers that we can draw upon. so that we don't fall into a trap of feeling powerless. And that. The last card, the third card that I drew, is Divine Guidance. And a beautiful card. I always love seeing this card. And the message to us today is, trust and follow your intuition. It is God and the angels speaking to you. You are being divinely guided right now. The gut feelings you have, the knowingness, the visions, or the inner voice are all trying to tell you something. And it is very important that you trust and follow this guidance. If you drew more than one card, pay attention to the cards that are on either side of divine guidance. They contain important instructions for you. These nearby cards feature facets of the messages that the angels seek to impress upon you. So it's like, if you didn't hear it the first time, then the other two is important. And we sometimes think, oh, nature, yeah, I know it's important for me to sit there, but I don't have time now, and the day just goes by, and can't just be idle, but that idle times we need just to connect. And it says alone in nature, because it's important that we gather ourselves and regain our power. And then we can, because when we regain our power, it's easier to follow the divine guidance. When we stand in our power, we can listen and trust those intuitive messages. But when we start to go in fear on 3D or in other things, that's where the doubt creeps in, and that's where we second guess ourselves, and that's where we don't take the steps that we need to take. And a lot of messages comes to us when we are quiet and still. So yeah, I would love to know what you are taking away from these cards. So what are they saying to you? Does it relate, not relate? Talk to me.
Yeah, it's funny. Just yesterday I was saying to Dave that I want to join a bird watching club or something. I just like birds. They're like a talisman to me. And there's so many birds in this garden of ours, and we overlook the green belt of an estate behind us where a whole bunch of woolly-necked storks brood and live, you know. And the birds, there's been a heron in my garden. There's been I can hear fish eagles, I can hear the birches, cuckoo, all these birds that are so unusual, you know. And we took a walk down to the beach, and I sat there and I just saw birds on the water, which we don't often see down here. You don't see a lot of gulls and that sort of thing. And I felt that power that these cards have brought up, the power of nature, the power of seeing. All the time I've lived down here, I have not seen as many birds as I have in the few months we've been living in this garden. It's amazing. So yeah, it definitely has resonated with me. I definitely need to get out there into nature with purpose, you know, just to sit in nature. I get bored and my mind just goes in all the wrong places. Whereas if there's a kind of a sense of purpose, looking for a bird, then I really connect, then I'm really drawn into it. So yeah, those cards are perfect for me today. Thank you.
Wonderful. A thought that has come to me now as you were talking is you might one day consider in making a bird oracle deck.
Oh, yeah.
Where you draw the oracle cards of the various birds, and you sit in meditation, and the feelings that come with that bird for you, you can maybe make notes about it, and it's just an idea.
That's a good idea. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because birds bring messages, so they message spirit from spirit.
Definitely.
And it's like when you're in tune like that, because you draw so beautifully, that other birds that you drew, oh wow, you really have a knack of making it so real life that it looks like a photo. So yeah, it's something that you can consider as a.
I love that idea. Thank you.
As a fun project, because I see lots of people are these days making oracle decks, but
Their own oracle decks, yeah.
I love birds and birds messages. So you've got an order.
Awesome, I love this idea. I love it. But now I've gone and committed myself to doing a farming South African farmers collection. Now I'm kind of losing interest. Now I just want to do birds. Oops.
Well, you've got so many years left. I'm sure you can do both. But when it has to do what you're passionate about first, what draws, awesome. Cool.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to share their messages or what they get from the cards? Vanessa?
Yes, what was the middle card again?
Power.
Power. No, it wasn't that one. What was the last one?
Divine guidance.
Divine guidance, yes. I drew a card earlier this morning, listen to your heart. And it's the second time this week I've drawn it. So the divine guidance really resonated with me. And then when you said at the last, the stillness, because when listening to my heart these days, it is actually still, which I love. Finally there's quiet. There's not always this crazy chattering. So that, yes, I know I'm on the right path. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah. When I took a short video of the garden the other day, I heard the birds on the video. And then I became aware, oh, I can hear so many birds. So I've been looking out for them. So, yeah. It's just to be aware and still and quiet and peaceful and connected and trusting. Because when we ask the universe open-ended questions, then the divine guidance comes to us. But when we want to enforce our will, meaning we want to do certain things, but we are not open to receive how it can happen beautifully. Because sometimes we hold limitations in our mind. I realized I wouldn't have been able to stay here under certain circumstances. So that which I loved the most, I would have been sort of deprived of and not have this. So on the one hand, I'm grateful for having this because it is what I want, it's what I need. And we all have to look at what our needs are, what makes us, what's important for us. Because unhappiness sometimes comes in when you try and please others at your own expense. So it's like whatever decisions you do make must still feel good for you and for the whole. But yeah. Okay. So no one else wants to say anything, eh? Maria's very quiet today. It's okay.
Sorry, no, sorry. I did feel the cards went straight to the point for me, and I think it was interesting. Well, it was interesting for me that the middle one was the power, because I felt like that's central to the way I've been recently, is feeling like the sense of power, that personal power, has not been in my not been a strength. And interesting that the condition that's been presenting recently is originating, although it's sort of my heart and lungs, it's actually originating from the solar plexus. So that's a seat of power, that chakra. So yeah, it's just as you're talking, just been reflecting on actually. Yeah, there's something in that, and that's, I think, why the power thing has been a big issue for me.
Okay.
So I need to,
Yeah.
I need to think about that more, and I must do my thinking in the garden.
Yes.
Watching the birds, which are beautiful outside also from my bedroom and my lounge, just beautiful, beautiful bird life, and trees, huge trees in front of me. So yeah, I really can identify with this.
Yeah, yesterday I spoke to a lady and I said that Nikki and you have those egg swingies in the garden. I want one on the side that I can also just sit outside and have a look at that. So yes, to use it when you have it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's to remind ourselves, so when we don't feel that we have the energy or the power, that we have other powers that we can draw upon, and that will fuel the physical power. So it's like when I had to surrender my physical body, and okay, it's just now going to feel what it's going to feel, and I excited my emotional body and my other bodies. It actually have taken me through it, and the physical body recovered. So sometimes when we do empower the other bodies and work with those, it pulls the other one through, because they're all connected, and if the one is out, the others are sometimes, but we can focus on it, give it energy, and then it can help our physical body.
I really like that. That's an excellent, reminder. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. So in the last 2 weeks, I've had some interesting dreams. And last night was one of them as well. And I guess if it's around a satsang, then it's sometimes good to bring it up or voice it or reflect on it. So when I was still in corporate, I would have a repetitive dream that I write the Afrikaans exam and I fail it, or it was a language exam, and I would fail it and fail it and fail it and fail it, always failed it. And at that stage, I couldn't understand why it would be a language subject and why I was failing so miserably at that. And when I went to see, there was a guy called Pierre, he did dream analysis, and he would connect to my higher self and to my ancestral guides, and then they will explain to me what it meant. And at that stage, it was that I needed to communicate with the world, but I wasn't in the way that I needed to, because I was talking about death and trust and wills and estates and the fear of all that. And that was not my purpose. So I had to realize that and sort of abandon ship and then find what it is that I need to communicate about. So the last 2 weeks, I've had dreams of writing Afrikaans exams again and passing. So, and last night's one, it was like I went through to other worlds to go and write this. But what was fascinating is I saw mermaids in the water. I was like, oh wow, what a world. And sometimes it feels like I fail on certain levels, and then in the dreams it's like, no, okay, I am, I guess, speaking my truth and doing the best that I can, and that's all that's ever required of us, just doing the best that we can in whatever circumstances, being true to ourselves, our needs, what makes us happy, and just do that. So yeah, I thought I'll just share that. Okay, so today I think is the last set of the Parables from Kryon, and it's number 18, and it's the 5 Karmic Lessons with the author's note. Kryon says, Oli Carroll says, when you were young Did you ever absolutely feel that you were born to do something? Perhaps you watched a craft being performed or smelled something familiar in some strange place that created a déjà vu experience. Maybe you even paused to pursue it to no avail. If all of us have lived past lives, it is only logical that there might be a strong remembrance carried over that don't necessarily play an important part in this lifetime, but they are still present as remembrances at a cellular level. I know that some of you knew who knew what you were doing, what you were going to do when you were 5 years old, then went on successfully to do it. What's the difference? The story about the 5 people who had strong karmic feelings carried over from other lives. It shows us what they did with them or didn't do with them, and how it affected their lives. Things are not always what they seem, and within every story, Kryon will comment on what happened. First story is about Mary the Barren. We will talk about Mary the Barren. Now, when Mary was a very small child, she knew intuitively that she was born to be a mother. Okay, other girls played with 1 doll, Mary played with 6. Mary knew all about children. She knew what made them happy and how to bring them up. She was wise in this area. You see, Mary had been a mother before, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Mary has raised children. Sometimes as many as 11 were hers. Mary was born to be a mother. As she proceeded along her life, Mary found a partner, a male human, who said, "I want a big family." Mary said to herself, "This is the one for me." Together they made plans, and they obtained a very large house in preparation for many children. But unfortunately, as life unfolded itself, Mary had no children, for to her shock, she was discovered to be barren, and all of the knowledge that she had regarding children seemed to be for nothing. She was distressed and distraught. She was angry at God. She wondered how such a trick would be played out on her. She came into this planet with such a knowledge of children, and then be denied. Her mate, he did not last a year. For you see, he wanted his own biological children, as Mary did. He wanted to look at their hands and fingers and know that they were just like his, and that his biology was their biology. Mary was left alone. Mary got over anger at God, for she was spiritually aware and she knew it. A window of opportunity had come for her to learn more about the feelings she had on the inside. It did not make sense for her that God would trick her so greatly. So she sought out answers in the company of others who brought her information. She discovered herself. The main thing that Mary did immediately that made all the difference was to take responsibility for the events in her life. She understood through studying that she had indeed planned what had happened. She did not understand why, and she still cried in the middle of the night for the lost children that she was not to have. But she took responsibility for the situation. It was long afterwards that Mary had a vision, and then she knew what her mission was. For the vision showed other mothers throughout the world reading her words and her wisdom. You see, Mary was supposed to publish information about raising of human children, and so she did. And by the time Mary passed over again to the cave of creation and the hall of celebration, she had written 7 books in all. They went planetary. Tens of thousands of mothers benefited from Mary's work, her insights and her experiences. In retrospect, standing on the other side, Mary understood what had happened. Oh, yes, she had come with the knowledge, the residue of her own past lives, but had misunderstood it, misinterpreted it. She was not to have children, for that would have gotten in the way of her true mission. It took accepting responsibility for who she was and the problem that she experienced for her to turn around and see what to do with her knowledge. Hold this in mind, for there are others for us to tell you about. The next one, John the Abundant. Let us speak of John the Abundant. Each one of you knows this John. He was born onto the planet with the ability to create wealth. Everything John touched made him wealthy. And it was indeed his karma for it to be so. Many looked at him and said, he must have been a fine person in his past life to have this positive karma. But they did not understand at all what his lesson was. Even as a boy, John was collecting money from other children for this and for that, a service here and an act there. By the time he was out of school, where others were just starting, John already had already on his way to abundance. He went on from there, for he collected and amassed a fortune. So much wealth did John have that he did not have the ability as an individual to spend it all in his lifetime. Even so, John occupied all of his time creating more, and he became unhappy. He became angry, for John did not have a clear vision of his mission. It was too easy to create abundance. So John became an irritable and complaining person. There were those who did not even want to be with him. He was so angry. So the only ones who were with him were the ones who he paid well to be, which was their own karma. And so John died an unhappy man. It was only after he was on the other side that he realized what his lesson had been. He had selected one of the most difficult lessons of all, one that he was unable to work through. Dear ones, there is a scripture that speaks of this, and we wish to tell you what it means and what it does not mean. For the words are translated to say that it will be almost impossible for a wealthy man to see the gates of heaven. Let me tell you what this means. It is this. It is extremely difficult for anyone with great abundance to become enlightened. And that statement stands alone without anything around it. This was John's lesson. Could he come down onto this planet, experience this kind of attribute, and still find enlightenment? For the windows of opportunity that he had to find enlightenment had passed him quickly, and he had not glanced to the left or to the right. The pursuit of his abundance occupied him totally. Now, some have taken this scripture and extrapolated an entire scenario of poorly thought out rules about the subject of abundance. What God really means, they say, was that you cannot be wealthy and have enlightenment. And it is this faulty logic continues. If you have wealth, therefore you are not enlightened. Furthermore, at the final stage of this thinking goes, to find God, you have to give all your wealth away. Usually to some organization ready to receive it with the purpose of helping you to get rid of the spiritual burden. Only then will you have enlightenment. These same individuals get worse, have actually equated being poor with being enlightened. Believe me, dear ones, this is not the case. We ask you to see the common sense of it. We have told you before that we wish you to have abundance. In other stories, we've taken you on journeys where you've opened the door to your inner spiritual life room, and one of them is always filled from floor to ceiling with beautiful things, gold and wealth. See Wu and the Room of Lessons in this book. Now, why would we show you these things, invite you to co-create with your own reality, then give you a postulate that says you cannot be enlightened and have abundance? The reason for this: you can be totally enlightened and have wealth beyond measure. The difficult part of this attribute is simply that one who is born into the planet with the ability to create abundance easily has extremely heavy karma. Will he or will he not turn and look at his spiritual side and become enlightened? In other words, the distraction for the creation of power is almost insurmountable. That is the extent of it. All of you are invited into abundance, each and every one. The scripture is simply a statement of difficulty and an admonishment to be aware of it. To have enlightenment and earthly wealth requires great balance and the true sublimation of the ego. These attributes don't exist together very often. When they do, you know you have met a very old soul. Blessed indeed is the one who knows God and has abundance. So we wish to talk to you about Philippe the Fisherman. Now, Philippe was not on this continent, but this is indeed a real story of a real human being. All Philippe wanted to do from the time he was a child was to fish. For you see, Philippe carried into his lifetime a karmic residue of many, with groups of fishermen around him, and he loved it. He knew it. For when he was a child, all he wanted to do was to go to the seashore and mingle with the adult fishermen. He learned to tie all of the knots, and he was excellent at it. He intuitively knew about the seasons for fishing. He intuitively knew what to do, when to do it, to harvest a large batch of fish. Philippe's father was a man of means and also a man of legal training. He did not want Philippe to be a fisherman, for unknown to either of them, his father had an agreement on the other side with Philippe, and it was all part of the father's karma to fulfill this mission. The father was disturbed that Philippe wanted only to be a fisherman, for he had greater plans for him than that. And so he removed Philippe from the seashore, far inland, where Philippe was enrolled into schools of legal learning. So it was that Philippe became a legal expert and excellent at it. In fact, he grew and loved it. Indeed, he thought about the life of the fisherman, but instead he turned the fishing experience into a hobby. He would go to the seashore anytime he could and sail a vessel that he had purchased with his own money. There he would get a smell of a fisherman for a day or two and revel in the experience. As for Philippe, as the life of Philippe continued, he was invited into the leadership court of his country. And again, Philippe excelled. For you see, he had integrity. He had spent time with fishermen. He had the affinity with nature and the creatures of nature and the earth itself. Philippe carried his wise ways into his work, and he became a great leader in his country, rising to the top leadership position. The people in his land loved him. Somehow, Philippe reminded them of a common fisherman, and they responded to such a personality. So, you understand that the past life residue that Philippe carried may very well have kept him at the seashore as a fisherman, had it not been for his father. For his father's mission was to raise Philippe and to be a wise leader, and he had done so. Philippe's mission was to use the attributes of the fisherman and apply it to the government of the people, his people. Together, Philippe and his father had an anointed plan. It is called karma, and both humans have walked through it perfectly. The result was that many were helped and that the planet's vibration was changed. Elizabeth the Royal. Let us tell you about Elizabeth the Royal. You see, when Elizabeth was born, even as a baby, she held her head high. Most of you know that this is unusual. A child has a weak muscles and cannot hold his or her head up. But Elizabeth held her own. Oh, indeed, Elizabeth was royalty, and she knew it. The only problem, dear ones, was that Elizabeth's parents were not royalty. Elizabeth was born into a poor group. Gradually, through the years, this angered her, for she knew she was special. She was a princess in her own way, and on her way to be a queen. But nothing around her visibly agreed with that feeling. And so she irritated the other children with her countenance. And later she irritated the other adults as well, for she wanted things a certain way. She carried the air of being royal in a poor family. And very much like the first story we gave you, Mary the Barren, Elizabeth's opportunity came to fruition. A woman friend took her aside one day and explained to her the workings of God. And Elizabeth, looking at her own life, said, I firmly take responsibility for the way I feel. Born as a princess without a royal family. So what is my mission? She asked. And then she acknowledged, maybe it's not necessary for me to have had a royal family for me to be the royal. So Elizabeth, on her own, decided she would create her own position, and everything she tried worked. The windows of opportunity flew open for Elizabeth, and she moved through the leadership of her group, co-created her own reality. And in her 43rd year, Elizabeth found herself respected and admired by all. Because of her talents and who she was, she had indeed created her own royalty. So once again, the past life residue had served her, but not in the way that she thought it might. The alchemy is clear in the story, for Elizabeth had taken a potentially disappointing situation and through understanding and enlightenment turned it into an opportunity, an appropriate one of honor. Elizabeth the Royal was indeed royal. So now, dear ones, from these 4 stories, you might ask the question, how could I tell the difference between a past life residue and a contract or a mission? For they look the same. Mary the Barren thought she was going to be a mother. John absolutely knew he was born to be abundant. Philippe the Fisherman thought he was born to fish. And Elizabeth thought that she could have been a queen. It is very easy to know the difference. And here are important attributes. All of the planning sessions of karma, the ones that are happening at this moment for you, are based around the windows of opportunity that are action items for you individually. That is to say, they are planned in love for your enlightenment and they face you squarely at potent times. Some windows are planted there to show you what you are not supposed to do. On the other hand, activities that try to work well for you are obviously your mission. We invite you, if you do not know the difference between a cellular intuitive feeling or a mission, to walk directly into the challenge and finding out. Some of you have felt that you should do this or should be that. Perhaps you should go here or go there, but you are uncertain. Many of you will have to venture out in order to find out the difference between a past life residue and a karmic contract or mission. For there is often a blurry line between the two. It is this blurry line that karmically invites you to venture out and find the difference. Do not be afraid of wasting time or resources on something that seems to have failed, or it may have given you the truth. It is this very action or intent of the venturing out that signals God and your angel guides that you have decided to move into what you have planned. Do you see the irony of all of this? If you sit in a heap and worry and fear what you are supposed to do, then nothing will happen. It is only when you go beyond the fear and step into action to find out that the engine of the lesson is engaged. Sometimes your actions seem to result in failure. But the truth of this is that indeed you find out if the feeling is a residue or a mission. It is the human who keeps trying the residue over and over who is the foolish one. It will simply never work. So if Philippe had tried to be a fisherman, it would have not worked for him. There is something Philippe never found out that was hiding in his biology. He would have been sick constantly if he had proceeded with his plans to make fishing his life's work. This is another way God honored him to help him find his mission. It would not have worked for him, and if it had not been for his father, he would have had a chance to look at it clearly. Instead, Philippe was successful in moving into his mission quickly because of another human at his side who had come in for that very purpose. Do you see how important humans around you might very well accelerate your mission? There is no judgment by God of whatever you pass through, your karma, or not, as you reach the other side. Having seemingly failed a life's test, as was the case of John the Abundant, there is no judgment at all, not even by John. Instead, John received a hero's welcome in the Hall of Honor, just like the others. In it is in the incarnation that the honor goes. There is never a time when God judges whether or not the lesson was accomplished. The honor is in walking the road, not in which direction was walked. I see we've got enough time to end with the last one. David the Loved. I wish to tell you about one who comes to the earth with no karma, but only a mission. And we wish to tell you now about David the Loved. Now, David was born and a part of his brain was missing. He was an intelligent child. He had all the facilities of consciousness, but the part that were missing were the parts that controlled his growth. And so it was that the doctors knew that David would not live very long, for there was no way that he could do so with the parts missing. David's entire purpose for being was a mission. Although it was not obvious yet, it would become so. David had young parents who loved him dearly, and he surrounded himself with others who also loved him dearly. So it was that David had an amazing life. For a few years he was on the planet. There were those who took him places that a young person would never have seen. He was showered with love and given every opportunity for learning. And yet it was in his 12th year that he passed over. For David's mission on this planet was to give a gift for his parents, to his parents. Oh, if you told the parents that this was a gift, they would have been insulted. There was never a worse time in their lives due to the sorrow of his passing. It would have helped the hurt of their heart to know of David's mission. Just like it is with you, dear ones. When you know someone is passing over, it does not help at that moment to know that it was appropriate. For when the moment occurs, the hurt is there. And at that moment, no amount of spiritual wisdom will replace the welling up of emotions. The hurt of the heart is the greatest wound any human will ever face. David, that precious little one, was sorely missed. And so it was that his parents mourned him, as is appropriate with these things. But you see, David had an agreement with those parents, and his young parents had an agreement with David. David's passing presented a window of opportunity, even when they were all at their lowest ebb, for the two parents to discover a path of quickened enlightenment. A step that they took in their search for peace that they never would have taken except for David's gift. And so it was that both those parents lived great, enlightened lives and became healers, administering to many over the years. The sorrow was transmuted to joy and healing, and it was that the enlightenment was complete. and their karma was fulfilled because of a gift of David the Beloved. What a waste it would have been if David's parents had never seen the gift and instead wallowed in their sorrow and let it consume their lives. David's entire mission was to allow for the enlightenment and the healing of hundreds of humans in the future that David was never to be in. His love was the gift for his parents, and their love was the ability to see his gift and look for what it meant. So the seeming sacrifice of the one created the joy for many. The spiritual beauty of the story is that David is eternal. And the 12 years he spent giving his gift was only a blip in the timeline of a much larger event, the evolution of the planet Earth. Ending off with the author's postscript. All I wanted to do as a child was to be in service. This is Lee Carroll speaking. My ex-wife Jan will verify, even to this day, that when I see uniformed men and women, I feel like I should be with them. I was placed in a military school when I was 8 and spent 3 years there alone as a boarder. I knew what it was like to be in service, and yet I was never a part of it. When I went to the bridge of the ship in San Diego, I recognized the chair I used to sit in, and I knew I was all Navy. I felt I had my purpose. Went through the Army ROTC in high school and made plans for NROTC in large and later college years in order to have a career as a naval officer. But this was a past life residue, you see. And the things that God did to keep me out of the Navy were amazing. The first thing was that I had allergies. I got called during college for Vietnam to go for a physical, and they failed me. They said, "You can't be in the service because you have allergies." Now now I know why God gave me allergies. Then it was later that I found out that I get seasick. Can you see a great Navy officer leaning over the rail in the midst of a battle? This is a cosmic joke. Then at the age of 50, I found out that I was born with one kidney. I could never have passed a complete physical for NROTC. There is simply no way I could have made it in the service of this country. And yet, that's all I wanted to do. I had lifetime after lifetime of military service. It was natural. I sorted out again when I came in this time. Being born into my karmic group in the Navy town of San Diego was a real challenge for a guy who had a karmic Navy residue, but a spiritual mission. Then to be placed in military school when I was 8. So God put blocks in my way to show me the difference between a past life residue and a contract. I waited until I was in my late 40s before I found my mission. Always wondering if I should have been a naval officer. And the human one that I have the agreement with is here next to me. Speaking of Lee's wife, Jane, at that stage. She was a placeholder for me to get me to where I am, just like Philippe's father did. So now perhaps some of you have a better understanding of Jane's participation in the Kryon work, which I talked about in other publications. It was profound. It's a karmic contract. It's a mission, and I'm glad God honored me with the blocks that kept me from following a false path, and with the partner that showed me the right one. The end. So, while I was reading that, what sprang to mind to you? What messages are you taking from that? What can you see in your own lives, Barbara?
Yeah, I particularly, I resonated with all of them, but specifically the one with John the Abundant, and how John didn't realize that the money he was making were actually blessings. So, and the church doesn't realize that either, actually. So they just want to take it away from you. And the whole thing sort of loses what it really is, which is gifts from spirit. And it just becomes something that people create, they think, on their own here in this lifetime. But in actual fact, it's just blessings, it's just gifts, it's just understanding that they have those gifts and they can share them or not share them, but they've got those gifts. And yeah, so that was what I was thinking. So many people think that they're creating the wealth themselves, and actually they're not. I don't think. I think they're sort of co-creating the wealth with spirit. That's what I think. But they were all wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Yes, it's confusing, isn't it?
That's what I was going to say.
Kryon's a theme. Everything is not as it seems.
Exactly.
Yes, true. You always hear that your passion is what you have to follow and blah, blah, blah. So this was a bit confusing, but also, again, John the Abundant. I read a few weeks ago, I think it was Kryon, that if you have abundance in this life, it gives you the opportunity of helping others, not with abundance, but helping others in a spiritual way. It allows you to develop spiritually so that you can be of service to others. So you don't have this constant worry about a lack of abundance. So yes, it was Kryon that I read that. So it came through for me again. Like Barbara said, it's a blessing, but you need to use it, not necessarily to hand it out to everybody at street corners, but to develop yourself to be able to help others. So I loved it. Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else? Nikki, what you taking over?
Yeah, I just found it confusing. So now, what is karmic residue, and what was the other one? Contract, or what is going on with me? What is that? When my passion gives me no abundance financially anyway, gives me lots of other pleasures. I'm very grateful for those. is it something he wanted to follow into service and everything was in his way of it? I'm just I'm full of questions now. Is this karmic residue? Is this a new contract? What am I doing? Do I follow passion? Don't I follow passion? Yeah, all that did was confuse me. Maybe it'll become clear over time, but right now I'm baffled. Was it Maria or Mary? Mary the
Barren.
Barren. To have such a passion for something and then not have it. I don't know. I just found it very confusing.
It was channeled in another direction.
Yes, I do understand that. I understand that.
It's like sometimes we are given certain things and we don't understand it at that stage, and we think we're not raising one child. We came here with that mission, but she raised thousands of children, tens and hundreds of thousands of children, helped. So,
but she was kind of shown quite clearly her a way of channeling it.
It didn't happen in the beginning. She had lots of anger. Because she had lots of anger towards God. Why would she have this feeling of wanting to rear children? And all of them, the key thing or the turning point for them was when they took responsibility for their journey. When they took responsibility for what has happened in their life. That didn't work out pretty. None of them, it worked out as they thought it's going to. And so sometimes we fight against things or we go against things, and it's just to go with it. That you are creative and you should always draw. Doesn't matter what else you occupy yourself with. It's a talent that you have. Other things I think will fall into place in ways that you never anticipated. So I don't think that should ever go away, because it's who you are. It's your best gift and your abilities, and that should always be nurtured. I don't think that is wrong. It's like I think more when you think you have to venture outside the box, that you get stopped. For you are not to venture outside the box. You cannot conform and do what others do, because it's not you. And it's not that you can not. You can always try. But
something fights me back. Something pushes me back. Yeah.
So, that is what the parable is trying to say. It's to see where are you being stopped, and stop going there, because it's not for you. It's like, okay, so I've got this. So what can I do with this? And you might still be very pleasantly surprised on outcomes.
Yeah.
It's if there's no fighting or resistance, and just allowance, and say, okay, so how else can I make this work? Meaning your very oracle deck might be a bestseller.
Yeah, you've really got me thinking with this oracle deck. Let me tell you, you've awakened a demon in me. The beast of the bird.
Good.
Yes, I think my thoughts resonated with Vanessa and the abundance. So I actually feel, and I see it in society where, where your abundance or even wealth is not channeled for spiritual upliftment. So even if you are abundantly blessed, I believe like you should channel it towards upliftment of others. And I think for me, that will give me the greatest joy. But that's just, so that's what I took from John's parable, little story. Thank you.
Sorry, I just have to laugh because it's like I was thinking, shall I now say anything about that one in the parable, or shall I keep quiet? And it's funny how each of you picks that one. It's like, okay, Spirit, I hear you. I will then talk about this. It's like I thought, no, I'm not going to, no, I'm not going to. And it's like, you hear it 3 times. Okay, I will. So, but before I do, I just see Maria also has commented that she loved the parables. Definitely a new perspectives for her, and definitely challenging her existing perspectives of our purpose for each incarnation, and how to recognize the differences between karmic residue and new contracts. Lots to think about here. Yes, and she also agrees with Nikki's oracle deck. I think it's got 2 buyers. Okay, so in my last set of experiences the last 6 months, coincidentally, my dad's name is John, and coincidentally, he is John the Abundant. And coincidentally, I now know exactly what his lesson is. So by the end of my experience, I thought I want to put a meme out, and I'm still going to put this meme out. So you're getting the pre-meme version. But I wanted to put out that some people are so poor that the only thing they have is abundance. And and I thought I'll have to do it in the video, because I can't just end it there, because then they think, no, I don't value abundance. But it's like some people can, when they create abundance, that's all they focus about. What I've seen with them is, it's like the whole day he would be on YouTube and listening to all the conspiracy theories and fears on whatever, and see how he can do more of this and more of this. But it's a hoarding, and I never have enough, and I must still get more, and it's never enough. And I realized that there's poverty consciousness there, because it's just never enough, and it's me, myself, and I am not sharing because you're not sharing, and I thought there's so many missed opportunities, but it was just nice to observe it for what it was, and to realize, you know what, we all, sometimes things are made easy for people, meaning they have an opportunity to sit and meditate, to focus on spiritual things, to be giving of the time of energy. But it's like they say, the only friends you have is the ones that you pay to be around. That is like, I've seen that. And yes, it's the other people's karma to also participate in that. But it's like, so I saw a different side of it. And as Kryon says, we have the opportunity to create abundance, but not necessarily fear the negative things that it comes with, the projections or the old way programming that you don't become enlightened, or you don't have a spiritual bone in your body because you are charging for your services, or you don't have this. Is any false beliefs or other stories that people have made from the Bible, or their interpretation of the Bible and abundance, and you shouldn't have if you are enlightened. It's to break that myth of it can either be one or the other, and that you can't if you have abundance. So I'm grateful for having been able to see that, experience that, and realize, oh, okay, we all have an opportunity. We all have windows of opportunity. We all get windows of opportunity. It doesn't matter where it is or whatever. And sometimes we walk through them, and sometimes sometimes it's not a window of opportunity and we just walk through it and indicate. This looks interesting. Let me just venture there, and then doesn't necessarily work out as we anticipated it to. But as it said in the end, it's like we are not judged for the choices that we've made. We are honored for walking this journey. Best you don't just sit on your ass and just don't do anything and don't ask questions and don't look sideways and don't do whatever. Best you don't judge yourself for wherever your journey has led you in the past, or judge others for their journey. Yes, it's theirs, and you see it for what it is, and you let them be. Because if people want help, there's help. If people want high understanding, there's a high understanding. If people don't, enlightenment, there's, I know in one of the Kryon things, they said there's enough books, courses, people, there's enough of everything to enlighten every human being on this earth plane. It's out there. Everyone has that opportunity. If you choose it, if you don't choose it, it's okay. But it's to take responsibility for your journey. And that was one of the things that for the past few days that I've been pondering on. It's how to heal, overcome my early experiences. And yesterday it was, so I can't blame anything. I just have to take responsibility. I've made certain choices. I choose to go through certain things. Why did I choose to go through certain things? Because it was a learning curve. It was, sometimes you go in search of love to realize where love is not, because it's all, as Vanessa also said, it's always with us, it's inside. So sometimes we mistakenly think things are different than what it is. And we have to walk through those lessons and realize, oh, okay, it's not. I've learned that lesson now. So it is whatever lessons we get to learn through the walking. The most important thing is walk. It's like there's times that we just need to walk. The Spirit doesn't blame us for what direction we got to walk in. Sometimes we walk forward and sometimes we walk backwards. We don't know always. And Kryon says it's in any case a dance. So sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So it's never just a win, and like that. We do have challenges, but it's our how we respond to that challenges that actually matters. It's to see, okay, hit a brick wall. Best not to walk into that brick wall again. It's like take a side step this way or side step that way, so that you go where it actually flows for you. What comes naturally, what is more effortless, so what doesn't create where your body sees up or have certain things. It's like to see, okay, pause, now focus on something else. So, and it is the main thing about this parable of this morning, it is to trigger things for yourself. It is to process things for yourself, to see, okay, and how it is done is connecting in nature, regaining your power, and then following the divine guidance. Because along the way, there has been, I'm going to say, clues for us, and sometimes we don't listen to them. The mistake that we sometimes do is we think that guidance from others is sometimes divine guidance. And I have to laugh at that because I had to experience that as well, but it's like, nah, not always guidance from others is divine guidance. It's like there's certain guidances that leads you off your path. Trust me, there's many of those. But the truth is, and that's why they say to get the divine guidance, you need to be alone, because you can't. Certain people keep you on the right track, other people don't. But preferably be alone and see what sits right with you. It's like the card that Vanessa drew about follow your heart or listen to your heart, or something about that. But it's like you have to be true to you. It mustn't go against your grain or what society or norms or standards or other people do that makes them happy. Cool. So that path makes them happy. Cool. It's their path. And best they follow that. But you have to be true to your path. To what energizes you, where do you grow, flourish, where do you feel good. It's very important to listen to your feelings when you are doing something. And it's those promptings that makes every cell in your body excited. It's like Nikki now hearing about the drawing the birds and stuff. Yes, that you can get excited about. So it's like you have to listen to your body. What is it? Suddenly it's not an effort, and that is exciting to do. To do more of that than where your body says, "Oh, I don't think so." If your body says, "I don't think so," best you listen to it, because that is when we start doing more of the right things. Yeah. So let's do the meditation. Want you all to become comfortable, relaxed and at ease. Closing your eyes, breathing in deeply and exhaling fully. I want you just to bring your focus to your breathing. Slow, deep breaths. With each in-breath, taking in the consciousness and awareness that's available to you. And with each out-breath, release all that no longer serves you. For you to be shining lighter and lighter, brighter and brighter. And just allow the tones, the vibrations, the frequencies to go in, through and around your body as you just relax. With slow, deep breaths. Wherever you hold any tension or stress, just let it all go, set it all free, let it all be. Just feel into the body. And release anything that's no longer serving you, stored within your cellular memories. Just detach, release and let go of those feelings, those thought forms, those belief systems that you have adopted. Allowing yourself to become more and more relaxed, more and more at ease, more and more at peace. I want you now just to visualize yourself stepping into the most beautiful garden with lush green grass, tall, majestic trees, clear skies, and the sun shining its rays between the trees. Breathing in the peace and tranquility that resides here. Following a pathway now through the trees and the forest, becoming aware of the sounds of the birds chirping and singing to you, welcoming you. You also start hearing the flow of the water, following the sounds along the pathway until you get to the start of the waterfall. And on the top of this cliff, to the right, is a big boulder for you to go and sit on. It's nice and warm and just the right temperature for you to sit on. You're aware of the vast landscape beneath you, observing the beauty as far as the eye can see. And you take a few slow, deep breaths. With your in-breath, you're taking in the new levels of consciousness and awareness that's available to you. And with your out-breath, you release all that no longer serves you. As you now connect through your higher self of the light, your Christed over self of the light, and your I am presence to source, the source of all that is. And feel a pouring of consciousness and awareness and divine guidance pouring down from source through your I am presence, your Christed over self of the light, your higher self of the light, in through your crown chakra, third eye, throat chakra, and into your heart. And just visualize yourself sitting in a lotus position on this rock, on this boulder, and receiving now the wisdom to understand the differences between karmic residue and your contract. And just sit in the open-ended question of, what is my true soul contract? Allow yourself to receive the pictures, the images, the words, the experiences, the people. Allow your true soul contract to be revealed to you with clarity. It's vital that you oxygenate your body with slow, deep breaths. And just open yourself to receive. Sorry about that. I'm sneezing on the truth. So take note of what you were thinking about receiving. Breathe in peace within your heart. Breathe in peace and strength and power within your solar plexus. Breathe in peace and creativity within your sacral chakra. and breathing peace. Of knowing your soul contract and anchoring these energies now through your base chakra, around this boulder, to the core crystals underneath you, along the crystalline grid, in full acceptance of what life has always been trying to tell you, show you, alert to you of. Anchoring your true essence, your true nature, your true being, in full acceptance of that. Breathing in peace within your throat chakra. Authentically saying, speaking, communicating your truth, especially in that which makes you happy. Saying what you mean and meaning what you say. Breathing in peace and clear vision within your third eye. Viewing your life through your master eyes, not with criticism or condemnation, but with acceptance, acknowledgement, and appreciation. Breathing in peace and high understanding within your crown chakra. Breathing in peace within your cellular structure of the physical body. Breathing this peace and love now within your emotional body. Breathing in peace, love, and acceptance within your mental body. Breathing in peace, love, acceptance, and appreciation with understanding in your spiritual body. And radiating this light of your true nature throughout all your bodies, your authentic self, and the colors that you come with. And the perfection of who you are. Part of the Creator expressing itself in this reality, in this now, in the way that you chose to. You gently get up from this boulder, feeling totally connected, totally aligned with yourself, with your true nature. And gently come back into this now, into the space, into your body. Then rotate your hands, rotate your feet, stretch and make sure that you're properly back into your body. And when you are, you may open your eyes. I want you to just, if you choose to, express what you experience in your meditation. Barbara. There you go.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful meditation. Thank you. I got a lot of love coming through from Spirit. A lot of affirmations that had to do kind of what we were talking about today, that I'm on my path, what I'm doing at this time in my life is appropriate, that I'm loved and I'm accepted, and yeah, that all came through loud and clear, and it seemed to make everything else, you know, the cards and the Kryon parables, everything sort of gelled together with that. It was, I feel so much better.
Yay! Awesome.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else would like to share what they've experienced in the meditation? So for me, it was fascinating because, yeah, I got clear message in what I always known a part of. So whenever I've gone on these breakthrough experiences that one gets, and I've been to a number of them, whenever you had to write an affirmation that you had to realize that you are, mine was has always been, and since my last experience also, it was like to remember I am love. So you can't lose love if you are love. You can't not love if you are that. So there's been layers and layers of understanding that one thing, I am love, on multiple levels of consciousness and awareness. But it's like the final penny dropped. And it is like my true heart's desire has always been to be with another, to be someone's significant other, and to be loved by them and to love them. And then I realized it's the same as Mary the Barren, loving one and being loved by one. So in my healing session on Friday, the message that came through from Spirit to me while I was lying there was, they have each other, I have everybody else. And it is, as I said in the beginning, it's like when you're at a certain place, then it's beautiful for you for a while, and then until you get used to it, and then you don't see the significance or the importance or the beauty of it so much anymore. And for me, it was to see the beauty of receiving the love from all the others, recognizing, appreciating, being able to love, and to be able to receive the love, the acceptance, the appreciation, and whatever. But it's far more reaching than the limited one-dimensional human experience of just that, and that's my only experience, and so forth. So for me, it was to see the power of love and the ability to love and having the means to be able to do so, because you're not consumed that there's one person that you have to give your everything to, which distracts you from the main work. So my issue and my hardest lessons in this life has been around love, but seeing it totally different now, through totally different eyes, awareness, in that I'm lucky that I can love so many. That there isn't jealousy, because my heart had place for many and to appreciate that. So not to take it as where you get so used to other things that you don't necessarily appreciate it or acknowledge it. So very much like you, Barbara, felt that love and felt what I can do with that love from there and from everywhere. So yeah, may you all walk this week on your journeys with the knowing that you are loved, and thank you, and may it be strewn with signals and signs from spirit so that you know what the divine guidance is for your path. I bless you, and I bid you the most beautiful week. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.